disasters, they're dying of wars, they're dying of childbirth. You know, women and men, we're still dying young. And I'd say that probably there's less people today than what there was 300 years ago, but they didn't have records 300 years ago.
And, you know, they also change history. They rewrite it so that you believe what they want you to believe.
Exactly. As I say, history's written by the victor, isn't it?
Yes.
You know. And I also heard that they changed all the history books years ago as well. Again, to fit in with the agenda, isn't it?
Yes, in fact, I was doing a seminar in Texas a few years ago, and there was an elderly gentleman there who told me that when he was a little boy in like 1920, he was reading books in public school about how Admiral Byrd went to the North Pole and found an entire, you know, warm weather and animals and dinosaurs and all kinds of stuff up there. And he said they used to read it out loud in school for the whole year. And then one day they took all the books away and replaced them with these other books that completely eliminated the story.
Yeah. I wonder why. Didn't they want us to know that some parts of the North Pole is quite habitable?
No, because, you know, that's the entrance to the inner Earth up there. And, of course, they don't want anyone knowing about that.
Yeah, because there's the hollow Earth theory, isn't there? And they say that in the hollow Earth there's a sun. What do you know about? Would you mind telling us what you know about the hollow Earth? Because that fascinates me.
Oh yeah, in fact, I've done entire lectures, and it's in my books. I wrote about it because it's scientific fact, and I'll explain. When a planet is formed by being thrown as molten material out of the sun, as that molten material is thrown into cold space, it starts to spin. And as it spins, the outside starts to harden, and the molten material is underneath. But the centrifugal force of the spin causes the molten material inside to move to the sides. And then that creates a hole in the upper and lower portions, like a north and south pole, where material is then ejected. And then the coldness of space causes the inside of that globe to start to harden, and it traps the molten material between an inner layer and an outer layer, which is why we have tectonic plates and molten material under the Earth. But in the very center of that hollow space is the leftover molten material that is hung there by centrifugal force. And that is what we have in the center of the Earth. So in effect, it's not really a sun. It's the remainder molten material of the initial ejection from the star that's still suspended there in anti-gravity, if you will, and that causes an inner sun to create.
Right. Do you think there's life there? Do you know if there's life there?
Oh yes, there is. Atmosphere in there. There's water. There's plant growth. There's animal. There are beings in there. I have to say that they're not friendly beings, but they do exist in there.
Do you think they're the reptilians?
Oh, yeah, there are reptilians, and there are others. There are many different forms in there because, unfortunately, a lot of other beings entered this planet at the North and South Poles and created their own little spots, if you will, in the inner Earth.
Societies. Yeah. So, it reminds me of that book. I can't think of that book. You know where they have the Middle Earth? What's that book? Tolstoy?
Journey to the Center of the Earth?
Yeah, but the one with the two towers. Oh, God. The Lord of the Rings, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure, because they do tell you in their own way. They do tell you about these things, but they dress it up as fiction. But a lot of fiction is fact.
Yes.
It's just that we laugh it off because it's dressed up as fiction. We
Correct.
just believe it's fiction.
That's very correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, who came here first? Would you say it was the planet of the apes first, or would you say it was the reptilians?
And I do write about this in my Blue Blood book. And the truth of the matter is that the reptilians were the first colonists here. And that's why they consider it to be their planet. And
so we're the ones that, well, not me personally, because of my blood group. But
Right.
no, but we're the ones that took over their planet then.
Well, from their perspective, yes. But we have to understand something first, and that is that the human race began in the Lyrae star system. That was
Is that Lyria?
Yeah, Lyra, Lyra.
Yeah.
And that system was attacked by the reptilians, and the human survivors spread out all over the known universe at the time. And several of those groups colonized what we now know as Mars, which was very Earth-like, and they also colonized a planet called Maldek, which was between Mars and Jupiter. And when the reptilians discovered the colonies of humans there, they sent an ice comet to destroy those worlds, and basically it caused Maldek to explode, which is why we have the asteroid belt there now, and it ripped off the atmosphere of Mars, creating a desert-like world that we have now. But the Earth at that time was only the second planet from the Sun, and it was covered in water. And when the ice comet approached the Earth, they went into a rotational spin. It caused the water on Earth to polarize and create the North and South poles, and a lot of water was then flown off into space. And then the ice comet became the second planet from the Sun, and the Earth was pushed out into the third position. And then the ice on the ice comet melted, creating a cloud cover, which we now know as on Venus. It became Venus.
Yeah.
And so the Earth was then colonizable. And so the reptilians then drove a vehicle into our system, which we now know as the Moon, and they colonized the Earth. So yes, even though they were the first colonists on the planet, it's because they tried to kill all the humans on Mars and Maldek.
The humans must have been very intelligent to have been able to have done that anyway. So it just goes to show the intelligence that is in the human spirit. Because the way, like, the media and the people in control, they like to make us humans feel that we're stupid and we're the blame for everything.
Yeah.
Because they don't really want us to know how intelligent, to be able to do all that and survive all that. That shows that we have a real strong survival skill and the intelligence to survive.
Yes, very adaptable. And able to get through and that's what the reptilians are not, because they are not adaptable, which is why they need to make environments the same all the time, whereas humans can adapt to different changes for the most part. You know? Yeah,
we don't like change, but we can adapt if we have to.
Exactly.
That's part of our makeup, isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas the reptilian brain, is fight or flight. It's one of those two extremes. There's nothing in the middle.
Right. What about, I don't know if you believe all this, but say like Neanderthal man. Do you think Neanderthal man was indigenous to this planet anyway? That us humans, we were a totally different race? Because like as they say, through evolution, we came up through breaking rocks and Neanderthal man, caveman. Do you think that was a load of sort of mumbo-jumbo?
Yeah, because, this planet was uninhabitable. It was a water world. There was no land masses that could sustain life until all of this happened. And humanity was brought here from elsewhere. It did not develop here. That's why, the planet is kind of hostile to human life forms, and that's why we have to wear clothing and we get viruses and all, because it's a hostile environment. It's not natural to us here. Exactly.
It's just not natural, and this is why, because I believe, like, we're eternal. We live forever. We just, one body dies, and then we become, our spirit lives on, and sometimes we come back, and sometimes we don't. But they say that millions of years ago, it was nothing unusual to live to about 400 years old.
Or even more, like 1,000 years or more.
Yeah. But can you imagine the learning we would have had, because really our lives are very, very short, aren't they? So we're not here long enough to learn. We only learn so much. And even if we come back again, a lot of the